ace jack off in theory might be printing, but in a field like WSOP is burning money. Hey guys, WSOP has just started and I want to share 4 tips in this video how you can make it a successful series. In this video, I'm going to be sharing how to play against good opponents, how to utilize all sorts of different sizings and exploit your opponents. Then of course also talking about bluffing and when to be overly aggressive and almost play like a maniac. And number 4 is going to be the most valuable tip, which is around playing pre-flop. So let's get right into it. So number 1, how to play against good opponents. Now you're probably gonna expect something like, yo, we're gonna play back. No, chill the fuck out and try to stay out of the way. WSOP is one of the most softest series out there. I've played it now 2 or 3 times as well with myself and it's absolutely astonishing. $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 buy-in, something just incredibly soft, comparable to an online tournament of the maybe $10, $50 buy-in. So you will of course face good opponents, but since there's so many weak opponents, tourists that just play for fun, why would you battle against good opponents? This requires some mental work, and if you have problems with your ego, get over it, learn how to deal with it, do your meditation, but try to play low variance against opponent. Don't battle against them. I also recorded a podcast with Charlie Carrell, which I think is super valuable when it comes to that. Go check it out. In general, the tips I have received from very successful live players in these huge fields is, hey, why would you battle against someone who is your level when you have 6 other players there that are clearly weaker? In-game table selection. It requires being able to manage your ego well and being aware of it and picking your spots wisely. Number 2, it's called no limit hold'em. So 2 big blind min raise open with ace, king, aces. I don't get it. You have opponents that will pay 5 big blinds, 7 big blinds, use all sorts of different sizings. My mantra, and especially, and I do this online as well in soft fields, weak hand, small sizings, big hand, big sizings. I hear these complaints where if, no, Ben, they don't like folding, I always play 8-way on the flop and then they suck me out. Well, use different sizings. Open raise 5 big blinds, 6 big blinds. If 2 limps before, raise to 10 big blinds. Very often if they have a hand they want to see a flap, they're going to pay. Very often you also start with 100 big blinds, 200 big blinds in the early game. So we play very patient. But when we get a hand, we want to build a big pot and make it as expensive as possible. And then once they hit something, they can't let go, but then the pot is already so big, they have an even harder time to fold. This is where this kind of like, oh, always 2 big blinds or 3 big blinds open raise and then 1/3 on the flop or 2/3 on the flop, use over bets. Very often we see spots where, hey, we know he's never folding, he must have a good hand. Just go 3 times the pot all in. You will be surprised. You will face opponents like, oh, why does he bet so big? It's so bluffy. And they're going to call you even wider. Of course, some people are like going to be scared. This is where in-game table selection, understanding who is weak, who will fold a lot and who doesn't, and align your strategy in an extremely exploitative way. Live poker is so much more different than online poker. Number 3, if you're the student of the Try Masterclass in the population analysis, you will probably have learned how crazy people overfold versus 3 bets from late positions. And I want to touch base on this where it's very powerful to be very aggressive against button, small blind, and cutoff opens. Just a quick background. In theory, we're supposed to defend very wide, like often 65% of our range facing a re-raise, a 3-bet. So you might just gotten into poker and you want to go to the WSOP, but you want to of course make money, not just play fun. If you just play for fun, don't listen to me, ignore me, maybe watch some other videos. But if you're there to make some money, and this might feel very uncomfortable, 3-bet very weak hands. You make immediate profit with a 3-bet and you can slow down post-flop. Don't bet, maybe bet once on the flop, but then give up. This is a powerful tool, a powerful weapon to exploit even regulars and weak opponents. Recreational players, they're going to be opening Jack 7, Jack 8 off, Jack 9 off, Ace 5 off, because you also need to fold a bluff a decent amount of the time, which you won't face. They are not able to go thin for value, so you are going to have a much higher equity realization, which means they're just going to be calling their 3-bet with a hand that they're supposed to 4-bet. So you get to see 3 cards, even 5 cards for free. So incredible powerful. Don't do this against the early positions, the middle positions. You know, recreationists, especially very often once they get on the button cutoff hijack, which is live less likely than online. I think I remember I had several tournaments where like hundreds of hands. I wasn't first in from the small line one single time, and I actually prepared for blind battle. I was like, that's the most stupid thing. That's like a bonus advice. Don't study blind battle. It's so rare that you're going to be playing small blind versus big blind because people just like to play hands and they're going to be entering the pot so often. So it's way more important to understand how to play your value hands properly, how to play multi-way pots, maybe go over some friends of yours and prepare for the more likely scenarios, right? Instead of trying to study something that might come up once in 500 hands. That's unfortunately the truth. So be very aggressive. People overfold even online, of course, more, but live they're going to be playing more hands, right? If they have Jack 7 off from the cutoff, or maybe 9-8 off, 7-8 off, it's a connected hand. So there's even more hands they're going to be folding against a 3-bet, and you want to isolate the weaker opponents as well. So if you have a hand that might look like a flat call, I would advise you to go for a 3-bet, Jack 10 suited, a suited ace, even a suited king, suited connectors, everything where you can hit a big pot, knock out the blinds with a weak holding. This is where I would say push the variance a little bit, be more aggressive, because it's extremely profitable. I myself, in my poker game, I only push the variance when I know it's a very profitable play. And if you're on the term masterclass, you have learned in the population analysis where they share the data with you where it's incredibly profitable. So this is what I would advise you to do at the WSOP or in general in soft live games as well. Number 4, ICM pre-flop. Most people think ICM, independent chip model, I also made a video about this, if you've never heard about it, is a super important concept for tournament poker. Most people think it only applies around the bubble when we get closer to the money. Well, that's wrong. We have now discovered over the last 12 to 24 months with the improvement of certain tools where you can start looking into ICM simulations already in the mid game or early game. And what we have discovered is that ICM applies significantly more in the middle and early stage of the tournament. That means we're supposed to be tighter. We're supposed to be more mindful about putting our money in. So what I'm trying to say here is protect your tournament life. Don't get it in marginal. If you're not sure, and if you check it with the common chip EV ranges, you might see that a certain hand, oh, a chip EV GTO says it's a call, it's gonna be terribly minus EV and a big punt in a soft live game. Future game, you're very likely going to find better spots in the future. B, considering ICM, it's going to be minus EV in the first place anyway. So considering your future game, your edge and ICM, well, you're lightening up your money. And that's horrible. Basically, what has been proven in a nutshell, I'm just explaining in a nutshell, is that patience is more important. And stacking off ace queen with like 3-bet calling for like 30, 40, 50 bigs, terrible. So you will have a lot of players who their 4-bet range is literally kings and aces. Don't try to be this GTO one-nut child. Oh, you might be 4-bet jamming ace-5 suited. I need to be balanced. No, very often you can 3-bet very wide in order to get money from their king, jack, king 10 suited. And if they 4-bet you fold your ace queen, you fold your ace jack, even ace queen suited, because it's going to be kings plus, right? And you will face these spots a lot. Or when you open race, you 3-bet queen, someone goes all in for 50 big blinds from the blinds, you can be sure it's just aces and kings. I've heard the most absurd stories where people don't even go all in with ace king for 50 big blinds. They want to see a safe flop, and you get it in with pocket jacks in spots where your opponent can literally just have kings plus. So be incredibly mindful about that, especially with the last couple of years with people getting more brainwashed by GTO. This is a different game live, incredible soft. People are super nitty. They just want to play for fun. Play a lot of pots pre-flop, post-flop, try to hit something. But when the pot gets big pre-flop, be sure they have it. Stay away from the good opponents. Focus on them. Try to play a lot of small pots against them. Once you hit something big, you go greedy. I know the problem is most people think, no, poker has to be more complicated. I see all these fancy plays. Well, in fact, not. You only see 1%, but the 99% is just for the good players waiting for good hands, going big, going greedy. I can tell you, I know most of the very good high stakes racks, I've battled with them over the last couple of years. What they do better is understanding and playing their value hands very well. Of course, we all have brain farts, we all have punts, but they end up on YouTube and then everyone thinks, oh, that's how they play. Well, that's not the truth. Also, it's a much smaller field, so we kind of like need to bluff here and there a little bit more often in order to get paid out with our value hand. Thinking about GTO and being balanced in such a field like WSOP, absolute insanity to me. It's crazy. I don't even understand how someone would try to approach it from a game theoretical understanding. So ICM preflop is big. We have it also impaired where you can study these spots. We're going to be releasing it very soon. A great way of understanding how real tournament ranges work versus just chip EV ranges, which are chip EV ranges, GTO ranges, but not tournament ranges. This is something you need to understand. Very often we gonna be, if we face an all in, we have to stack off 3 hands tighter according to ICM, right? So if you have ace-8 suited for 30 big blinds and you face an all-in from the blinds, Chippy V, GTO might tell you, yeah, you have to call. But with ICM, it's ace-10 suited plus. And then considering that this guy is only going all in with ace-queen and better, ace-jack off, in theory, might be printing, but in a field like WSOP is burning money, right? Especially if this guy is a guy that hasn't been 3-betting once. He's not going to risk his tournament live with ace-jack suited. He takes a flop, he wants looky, and if he hits something, then he continues. So very likely this is just going to be an ace-king. But I've seen flat calls with ace-king, and then you jam and you call against the range that's 10 plus. So try to identify those who play a lot of pots pre-flop, and then try to hit something, but once they show aggression, big hand. All right, I hope this has helped you. Good luck at WSOP. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there myself, maybe towards the end for the main event. I have a very busy schedule for the next couple of weeks and months, so yeah, I would love to come, and if I come, I will let you know. And then good luck at the WSOP. And yeah, if you have any other questions, any other things that you think you should be doing at WSOP in order to improve your win rate, feel free to drop a comment. See you guys and good luck.